Thanks so much for joining, guys. We will start with our managing stress and anxiety session. A lot of the tips and tricks are just for general stress and anxiety, but at the end I will speak specifically about coronavirus if anyone is feeling more stressed due to what's going on in the world. And hopefully these are some things you guys can keep in your toolbox. I will send you guys an email as well, just a follow-up with sort of the Cole's notes of everything and some of the resources that I'm going to talk about as well. If you guys have questions, just unmute. I don't think it's a huge group on here today, or you can always pop in the chat. I'm not super at multitasking, so I'll try and check the chat kind of as I go through. Sweet. Well, thanks for joining, guys. And here we go. Just so you guys know what you're in for today, this is an outline of what I'm going to cover. So we're going to talk a lot about stress. We're going to look at sources of stress, symptoms, how to reduce the stressor, how to prevent the stressor, coping techniques, reducing immediate stress, and then we're going to do a few skills and activities, so little things you can keep in your toolbox. We're going to do some 1-minute exercises. We're going to do an awesome breathing technique called the 4-7-8. It's a video, so, actually, hang on one sec. I got to tick something, I think. We're going to look at anxiety and anxiety disorders. We're going to look at calming anxiety techniques, and then we're going to look at the COVID-specific stuff as well. I'm just going to stop sharing for a second because I think I needed to tick share computer sound because I do have a video. Okay, that should work. If it doesn't, I'll unshare. We'll get there when we get there. All right, guys, starting off with stress definition. Everyone kind of knows what stress is. It's kind of like happiness. You know what it is, but it's sometimes harder to put into words. So here's a definition, if you will. A state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances. So you can have two people in the very same situation. So say Opal and one of the Colleens are at the bus stop, and Opal is on her way to a very important job interview. It's her dream job. And one of the Colleens is just on her day off, and she's gone out to grab a coffee and run some errands. And they're both at the bus stop, and now the bus is running late. And these two girls are standing in the exact same situation, but the amount of stress that they're feeling is very, very different. So Opal might be feeling a lot more stressed because now she may be late for this interview, whereas Colleen probably didn't even look at her watch because she's just on her day off and running some errands on her own time. So stress does affect everybody differently, and no matter what the situation is, it may be stressful for you and not for somebody else. Stress test. Now, this is not something I'm going to get you guys to do right now, but I'm going to send it to you in the email follow-up. And the reason I'm sending it is not to freak yourself out or stress yourself out, but it's to maybe change your perspective. So on the day-to-day, if you feel like, oh yeah, nothing really stresses me out, things kind of roll off my back, and you do this test and you come up with a higher score, then I want you to take from that as, oh, I must have really good coping techniques. So whatever I'm doing in my life right now, I want to keep that up and carry on with that through life. If you're the opposite and you feel stressed all the time and everything is sort of an issue for you and you have anxiety about it, and you do this test and you come in with a lower score, then I want you to maybe have a think about changing your perspective on a couple of the bigger issues that stress you out. And that could be through talking to people, maybe your regular crew, or maybe talking to somebody who's a little bit different, an acquaintance, just to get a different sort of perspective on those top issues that are really stressing you out. So that's coming up in the email I'll send you when we get off the call today. Sources of stress. So guys, I have a poll here. Let's see if this is going to work, just to keep it a little bit interactive because it's no fun with me just yapping all the time. I want to know what stresses you out in life the most. And I think you can tick more than one. Is it work stresses? Is it life stresses? Is it age stresses? How your body is coping with different things? And then I'll share the results with you guys. And anyone who's watching the recording, the choices are life stresses, work stresses, financial stresses, just COVID stress at the moment, all of the above, or temporarily not working stress. Looks like work is taking a very strong lead at the moment. I'll give it another few seconds to give everyone a chance to pop in their answer. We've got work stress at 67%. Followed closely by all of the above, financial and life stresses. So I'm going to end that, and then I'm going to share that with you guys to see if you can see. People watching the recording, you won't be able to see it, but the work stress was the biggest stress for this group that we've got on the call today. Okay, we'll get that off of the screen. So I mentioned a lot of stresses in the poll, but most of those stresses were actually negative stresses. And I just wanted to make the point that there are actually some good stresses in life. And some examples in Flight Center world would be having targets for anybody who's doing sales, getting to global ball. Those kind of things are good stresses. You may be stressed in order to achieve them, but if we didn't have any good stress in our life, then we wouldn't be, I guess, pushed to achieve some of those more outstanding things that we do achieve. So the trick for us is to find the balance between the good stress and the distress, where you might be having fatigue or distress or exhaustion, and then eventually ill health or a breakdown. So you can see on that chart there kind of where the comfort zone is. So a little bit of good stress really does help us achieve, pushes us to maybe hit goals that we wouldn't if we didn't have any sort of stress at all. So this is a little activity, guys, just to keep it, again, a little bit interactive. If you guys can open up your chats, I am going to read off some symptoms of stress, and I want you guys to either write the number or type in where it affects you. So stress can affect us in 4 parts of our life. One is our body, one is our thinking, one is emotions and feelings, and one is behavior. So if I am feeling run down, what would that be? So you guys pop in the chat just so we can play this game with me. Get mine open. Perfect. Yeah, so that's going to be your body. Perfect. Feeling irritable. What would that be? Yeah, it could be behavior, it could be your emotions and feelings as well. Feeling anxious or losing confidence. Yep, number 2, it would be your thinking, I would say the most. Feeling tearful or depressed. That's going to be your emotions and feelings. Awesome. If you stop eating, what is that one? If you stop eating, your behavior. Yeah, that's a behavior change. Weight loss or weight gain. Going to be, is going to be your body. Yeah. Heart palpitations, your body, lots of ones. Constant headaches, your body. Yeah, we got a little pattern here. Shallow breathing is your body again. Upset stomach, body. You guys are nailing it. Irregular sleeping patterns. That's going to be behavior change. And last one I've got for you is rashes, which is your body again. So you can see just from doing that little exercise that stress affects us more in our body than any other area in life. So the long and short of that exercise is the fitter and healthier we can keep our body, the fewer symptoms that we're going to feel, even if we are extremely stressed out. Hopefully that makes sense. And there's a little chart there again, just showing some of the body symptoms of stress that you could be feeling. Okay, talking about reducing the stressor. So conflict resolution is a really big one, and it can be tricky, but it almost always is worth it. I'll give an example from the shop maybe, and I know things have changed since I've been in the shop, but say 2 of us were working on the same file. So Opal and I are dealing with the same client. One day they come in, they talk to Opal, the next day they come in and talk to me, and Opal ends up transferring all of the commission on the file. And Opal's my team leader, and I just kind of feel like, oh, I put in a lot of time with that client. That's kind of too bad that Opal did that. And Opal maybe goes home that night and she feels a little bit guilty, like, oh, maybe I should have split the commission with Anna or at least talked to her about it, but she wasn't in that day, so whatever, I worked on that file too. So if I was feeling some sort of conflict, as difficult as it may be to strike up a tricky conversation, especially with a leader, it is almost always worth it to do so. Because if I'm going to be feeling stressed going home, 99% chance that Opal is going to be thinking about it as well. Whereas if we have that difficult conversation, maybe in the shop, hey, Opal, I saw that you transferred that money on that file, you know, maybe next time I'll take the client, or maybe we'll split it, or whatever. We come up with some sort of resolution, then we both go home and we don't think about it again. So that's just an example in the shops from way back when I was in the shops. Whatever, there could be different conflict between you and your colleagues or with clients or suppliers or whoever it may be, but it's almost always worth it to try and resolve that before going home at the end of that shift and taking that on with you. So that is reducing the stressor, an example I've got for you there. Time management. This one can be easy, but little things like lists that kind of hang over your shoulder, like, oh, I should really make a doctor's appointment, or I really need to get to the dentist, or I should call the plumber about that drip, or get the kids signed up for soccer, or whatever it might be. Just those little sort of piddly things, they kind of hang. Take 5 minutes before you sit down at your computer for the day and pick up the phone, or back in normal times, you're waiting for the bus, or you're in the car or whatever to get to the office. Take a couple of minutes and just make a few calls and tick some of that stuff off your list. It just makes you go into the day feeling so much better. And those things can hang over you for weeks to months, right? Oh, that drip in the sink or whatever it is, it just kind of always weighs on you, and it's always in the back of your head. Whereas if you can clear that list by just organizing your time a bit, it definitely can reduce the stressor for you. Changing perceptions. So this one, going back again to where I mentioned the stress test. If you are always feeling stressed and you come in with a not too stressful score, that's a sign to maybe change your perceptions. And there's a few different ways to do that. And I mentioned it before, but speaking to somebody who is not in your regular group, so maybe not your best friend or your mom or the person that you always bounce things off of, but try a different colleague, or, hey, can I talk to you about such and such? Like, what do you think about this situation? And you may get a completely different answer from them and a different way of thinking about it. And if you can do that, just changing your perceptions, it's actually eliminating the stressor. You don't think of it the same way anymore, and maybe it doesn't stress you out as much as it did before. Reevaluating goals and values. So I have a couple of examples for this. So if I set a goal for everyone who's a selling agent, you need to transfer $100,000 this month. Well, not a lot of airplanes are flying, so it's probably not a great goal. So from the retail moving all the way up, everyone is going to be stressed, not just the agents who I've said, oh, okay, guys, 100,000 this month, or, you're going to get it. But the team leaders, the area leaders, everybody who goes up from there is going to be stressed out trying to achieve this probably unrealistic goal. Another one is if I decide I'm going to up and run a marathon in 2 weeks' time. Well, 2 weeks' time is not a realistic time for someone like me to train for a marathon successfully. So it's just a goal that is not realistic, and it's going to stress me out, but it's also going to stress out my whole group, my family, my colleagues, everyone else, because I'm going to be trying to achieve this unrealistic goal. If we can remove the stressor, we don't have to think about it anymore. So those are just some examples of the big ones. If there's other different things that happen, try to reduce the stressor, whatever examples you might have or be feeling in your own life. Then if we can prevent the stress, out of all of the research I've done on stress management over the years, these 4 things always come up. So having support networks. So those are your intimate friendships, whether it's your best friend, your mom, whoever it is, partner, even your kids. Who can you talk to about whatever it was that happened that day? You have to have somebody that you can bounce things off of. So again, maybe you're not looking for a different perspective by going outside your circle, but just the day-to-day, I need somebody to talk to about this because I'm feeling really stressed or unsettled about it. Having some hobbies and interests. So something else to look forward to besides going to work and going home. So even if it's once a week, twice a week, some sort of club or reading, or even if it's Netflix or something like that to distract you, to take your mind off of the regular day-to-day stuff, it's really important to have some sort of hobby or interest. Major life changes. So if you are having a major life change that you're planning, something like buying a house or moving or getting married or having a baby, one of the ones that you can plan on, try to organize some time away to be able to deal with it. If you are moving house and you are expected to be in the office or on your computer the next day at 9 o'clock or whatever, that's probably not going to help you with your stress levels, because you probably can't even find your computer, let alone, have a place and have the internet in the bank. So be able to use those. If it's stuff that you didn't know about, like someone gets sick, or one of the negative life changes, you're getting divorced or you're breaking up or something like that, as it happens, plan to take the time off so that you can deal with it mentally. And then when you do come back, you're feeling recharged. And then general health and fitness, as you saw on the slide with the body, we feel more symptoms of stress in our body than anywhere else in our life. So if we have a stronger immune system, we're healthier, we're fitter, then we can reduce the negative effects of stress. Coping strategies on this slide, guys. So we've got some good ones and we've got some bad ones. So if anyone's been around since at least January, An example of lifestyle change would be the 8-week or the 12-week challenge that Healthwise runs every year. That is a lifestyle change. People go into this challenge, they want to change a couple of things in their life and hopefully maintain it long after those 8 or 12 weeks. That's a good coping mechanism to try and improve your life, whether it's nutrition or you're sleeping more, reducing stress or whatever it might be. That is a lifestyle change. Meditation. This is a really good one, especially now if you have a bit more time on your hands to give this one a crack. In the email I'm going to send you, I've got a bunch of recommendations as well. And also on the Healthwise page on Workplace, I've got a pin post, and there are some like really quick meditations that you can try on there as well. Social support, again, having that, those intimate friendships, relationships that you can speak with. And then there's always the EAP. So if you need to speak to a professional or a counselor for whatever the reason might be, Canada and US do have free EAP with our benefits, and I'll have those numbers for you guys in the email as well. Some of the bad coping mechanisms to stress: self-medication. Oh my God, what a day, let's go for a drink. Or, you know, you're smoking more cigarettes or whatever it might be. Not always super. Avoidance, just trying not to think about the situation at all. It will eventually build up. Self-blame, withdrawal, and denial. All of these are not going to help you get through whatever the stress or the issue might be. Yes, look at those little babies. Believe it or not, this is true. This has been proven. Japanese research shows that if you look at pictures of baby animals, it does actually lift your mood, help work performance, help concentration, and just give you some of those feel-good, like serotonins in being released in your brain. So this is a good one. If you know you're coming up to a stressful time, or whether it's month end or something, shoot some of these out or throw them on Workplace or send emails to your friends with some cuties and see if that really helps. Okay, guys, here's a quick list of some tips to reduce immediate stress. So maybe you've spoken with an upset client or whatever, something that's really come on quickly. It's not one of those long-term sort of chronic stresses, but something that's just come up. Try and breathe slowly and deeply. Try and speak more slowly. And this is really good too for having a client on the phone who is upset, because if you can slow down your pace of speech, that in turn helps them calm down, and then you can get things sorted a little bit faster. Step outside. If you can get out for a quick break, just a change of scenery, a breath of fresh air definitely helps. Having lots of water and healthy snacks by your desk. Checking your posture. 3 o'clock on the East Coast. I know a lot of you guys are hunkered down over your laptops right now. Just pull those shoulders back. A quick posture check, just a quick interruption of your thoughts, and can help you move on to the next thing. Plan something rewarding at the end of a stressful day. So if month end is always your most stressful day, or whatever day it might be, in-laws are visiting, whatever it might be, try to plan something to look forward to after that, so it helps you get through it. Taking lunch breaks and using your social network as well. All right, guys, I've got a few things for us to practice here. So these are some of the activities to keep in your toolkit. Now, let's hope this works. There's some really cool GIFs that you can find online, and I've posted a few on the Workplace pages, the Healthwise pages, just to try and concentrate on your breathing. And without doing like a whole meditation thing, this can be really, really quick. So if this one plays, what it is it's a thing that moves like this. So you inhale for 4 seconds, and then you exhale for 4 seconds. So I'm just going to play it for about a minute, and try to do it along with me if you can. Is it coming? Let's see. Maybe. You'll have to take my word for it then. It worked last week. So let's pretend that there's a GIF on there and it's my hand. So just breathe in for 4 seconds and out for 4 seconds. In, out, in, and last one. I'll send you guys the link to the GIF in the email, just because it is really cool, and it's just a visual and you can actually see it to do it. Oh, look, here it goes now. Is it working, Opal? Can you see it? Give me a thumbs up. Yes, sweet. You get extra practice for this one. Cool, right? So you guys get the idea. Okay, another quick little exercise you can do. And if you're face-to-face with a client, probably not the best one, but where we're working from home, you can turn your cameras off and still talk to them. A yawn and stretch for 10 seconds. So if you guys want to stand up with me, I'm going to stand up here. I'm just going to stretch up to the sky, a little bit of a twist, and I'm going to do a yawn. And you can fake it till you make it. If you see me yawn, you might do it because it's a bit contagious. And just notice how that quick 10 seconds interrupts your thoughts. No matter what you were thinking about, you have switched your focus to do a quick stretch, so it helps with your body, gives you a bit of a stretch and a movement, and then the yawn actually interrupts everything that you were thinking about. Even if just for a moment, it really helps. It's a really quick one. The next one, stroking your hands. I use this one sometimes on airplanes if it's turbulent, in the back of Uber or taxi drivers. You can use it anytime because no one will know what you're doing. So this one is a mindful exercise. So you're going to take one hand and you're just going to go over your thumb, and you're just going to feel, and you're going to move from the base all the way to the tip, just noticing the different texture. You're going to go to your index finger now, and you're just going to feeling over the joint and the bone. Notice the difference in texture when you get to your nail. Then go to your middle finger, same thing. You're just going through from the base, working your way all the way down to the tip, over to the ring finger, twist the rings if you've got any. Again, just moving your fingers all the way down. You're thinking about it the entire time, feeling the different textures, maybe different temperatures if your fingertips are colder. Over to the pinky, same thing, just noticing the difference in skin, bone, and then nail. And you can do that as much as you want, going through as many times as you need to with both hands. So again, it's a really quick one. It's less than a minute, but it changes your focus, it interrupts your thoughts, and it can really help calm. The next one, I sent out an email about a half an hour ago, and if you got it, I asked if you had a little snack or something you can have on hand. So I've got some blueberries and blackberries, but I also have the Smarties because it is all part of the balance, and even though it's health-wise, I do enjoy a Smartie. So what I want you to do is take out whatever your snack might be. I'm going to use the Smartie for an example. And this is an exercise in mindful eating. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to look at the Smartie. For everyone in the States, I know you call a Smartie something else, but this is just a candy-coated piece of chocolate, like an M&M kind of. So this one, I'm going to notice the texture. So I'm going to rub it between my fingers on the flat side, and then I'm going to switch and just notice the difference in texture when I go to the skinny side. And then I'm going to notice the color, which is red for me. I'm going to notice the shape of it. I can smell it, see if it smells like anything. And then I would pop it in my mouth and I would just let it sit. I'm not going to crunch it yet, but I'm just going to rub it between the roof of my mouth and my tongue. And I'm going to imagine all of that red dye bleeding off, wearing off. And underneath that red dye is a white shell. I've done this before. And eventually, as you're sucking it and rubbing it between your tongue and the roof of your mouth, that shell is going to get thinner and thinner. And eventually it's going to crack and you're going to get to the jackpot, which is the chocolate inside. Once you get to the chocolate, do whatever you want to do, crunch it, suck it, enjoy it. That's it. So that was less than 1 minute, but it was taking in all of our senses to really be mindful about that piece of food that we were going to eat. Now imagine if we did that with breakfast, lunch, dinner, and everything else. It would change our lives probably. Take a lot longer to eat, but we seem to rush all of the time. So it's a really quick exercise you can do with pretty much anything, a nut, a snack, a raisin, a grape, a candy, anything like that. Next one, guys, I've got our 4-7-8 breathing technique video. So I'm going to play it. Opal, give me a wave or something if you can't hear it or something, or somebody pop in the chat because my technology skills are not super. And it's about a 3-minute video, and just try and do it along with Belinda. She's going to teach us how to do this 4-7-8 breathing technique, why it's good and how it helps calm us down. There's no sound yet, so don't worry, but there will be in a second.
Belinda here, coming to you on behalf of HealthWise to talk about intentional breathing. We generally don't need to think about breathing because it occurs from our autonomic nervous system. In this tutorial today, we're talking about bringing awareness to that breath and breathing with intention to benefit our health. The average person takes around 23,000 breaths per day, but most often this breathing occurs through short, shallow chest breathing. Now, this type of chest breathing takes in minimal air into the lungs versus the large volume intake that we can achieve through diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing. Today I'm going to be teaching you a deep belly breathing technique to keep in your toolkit. This breathing pattern is most helpful in moments of high stress and anxiety, or as an aid to help you fall asleep at night. Essentially, we're switching the body from fight or flight to rest and digest, or in more technical terms, we're activating the parasympathetic nervous system and deactivating the sympathetic nervous system. The benefits of you integrating this type of breath work into your daily routine results in you becoming more focused, calm, relaxed, mindful, and non-reactive. So let's get started. Today we're going to learn 4-7-8 deep belly breathing. So that's inhaling for 4, holding for 7, and exhaling for 8. Now this can be performed at your desk or in an alternate quiet space. Lengthen the spine up to the sky as you drop your shoulders away from your ears and down your back. Close your eyes. Place both palms on your belly. Take a deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth for one clearing breath before we start. I want you to imagine there's an empty balloon inside your belly. As you inhale, inflate that balloon, feeling your palms move away from each other as your belly expands. At the top of your inhale, holding this balloon at its full expansion. As you exhale, deflate the balloon fully until there's no air left. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let go of the controlled breathing and allow yourself to drop back into your normal breathing pattern. Now sit for just 1 minute to enjoy the relaxation benefits of deep belly breathing and enjoy the rest of your day.
Sweet, thanks Belinda. Hopefully you guys got to practice that once or twice, and the more you do it, the better you get at it. The first few times I tried, I was like, when are we gonna get to breathe again? This is a little bit too long. But again, the more you practice, the more effective it will be for you. And it can really help you if you're struggling with trying to get to sleep at night as well. All right, guys, moving along to panic attacks. If anyone here suffers from panic attacks, will know that they're super scary. And this is a little quick grounding exercise that you can do during a panic attack to help you try to calm down and refocus. So it's a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So look for 5 things you can see. I'm in my kitchen, I see a fridge, I see a sink, I see my computer, I see my notes, I see my mouse. 4 things I can feel. I feel the counter, I feel a notepad, I feel my phone, I feel my glass of water. 3 things I can hear. I don't hear the kids screaming, but I probably will soon. I hear the rain coming down, I hear the radio on in the background. 2 things I can smell. The garbage, I don't know, the radishes over there. And if you don't have anything to taste, then that's fine. You can keep going through. So it's a really good little exercise, just again, using your senses, helping to ground you and refocus your thoughts to get through that panic attack. Now we're going to talk a little bit about anxiety, guys, and just again to learn about what anxiety is and then As I read through some of these slides, just be mindful of some of the symptoms and how you actually feel, and decide if you have just regular sort of anxiety and maybe it's COVID induced, or if it's maybe an anxiety disorder. So we're going to go through some natural ways to help calm, and then if you needed extra help, I've got some resources for that as well. So anxiety, it's nervousness, it's apprehension, self-doubt that may or may not be associated with real-life stressors. It can be a vague, unpleasant emotion that is experienced in anticipation of some future misfortune, a state of apprehension, uncertainty, or fear resulting from anticipation of a realistic or imaginary threatening event or situation. And it may have emotional, behavioral, cognitive, and physical components. So it's a little bit different. There's a few different definitions, but the most anxious anxiety comes probably from uncertainty. And we do have a lot of that going on in the world at the moment. Here are a few symptoms. I won't read them all off because you guys can see the screen, but racing heart, nausea, feel like passing out, headaches, brain zaps, cold chills, sweating, shaking, knots in stomach, a falling sensation, difficulty breathing, weak legs, crazy thoughts, yawning, chest pressure, hot flashes, body jolts, eye strain. So there's a lot of symptoms of anxiety, and everyone is going to have different ones based on the anxiety that they are feeling. Here are a couple of stats that I thought were interesting. From puberty to age 50, women are nearly twice as likely as men to develop an anxiety disorder. Uncertainty causes more anxiety than perhaps any other single factor. I love this one with the public speaking. So 3 out of 4 people have public speaking anxiety. And I liked this one just because it showed how one person actually felt. My anxiety comes on like a switch, and I don't always know why or how to stop it. It makes my heart beat too fast. So again, going back to the symptoms, everyone is going to feel different symptoms of the anxiety they might be feeling. So I'm just going to hit a little bit on anxiety disorders. To some degree, we all have some kind of anxiety. It's a normal response to stressful life situations. It could be moving, changing jobs, financial troubles, being laid off, furloughed. All of these things can cause us some natural anxiety. But in the US, 18%, and in Canada, 25% of the population who are adults will have at least one anxiety disorder in their lifetime. So it's a feeling that's so severe that it interferes with day-to-day life. When symptoms of anxiety become larger than the events that triggered them and begin to interfere with your life, they could be signs of an anxiety disorder. So these are some of the symptoms of an anxiety disorder. So these are the ones, just be mindful. Do you notice these in yourself or in your friends or family? Excessive worrying, feeling agitated, restlessness, fatigue, difficulty concentrating, irritability, tense muscles, trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, panic attacks, avoiding social situations, or irrational fears. So those are some of the symptoms, and recognizing the symptoms, it would be the first step. This is a little quick chart of anxiety, I guess, regular anxiety versus a disorder. So anxiety is a normal reaction to stress or difficult times. It's triggered by a specific stressor. It has a starting and an ending point, can be helpful or motivational, lessens significantly or disappears away from stressful situations. Relaxing often helps you feel better. Now, when it's a disorder, sometimes it comes out of nowhere. It's intense or disproportionate emotional response, ongoing and can last for weeks or months, interferes with day-to-day life, and physical symptoms like sweating, trembling, lightheadedness, and racing heart are part of it. So these are some of the natural ways to calm anxiety or get your mind off of your worries. Meditating, mentioned it before. In the email I'm going to send you guys, I'll put out a few different options that you can give a try if you haven't given it a crack before, and also pinned on the HealthWise page on Workplace. Exercising or going for a run. It really does help for lots of reasons. I run in the mornings more for my mental health than my physical health, just because it's my only time alone and it helps calm. I can process things and get ready for the day. Take a drive, listen to music, clean or organize your home, focus on your breathing. So going back to either that GIF with the 4 seconds, which is really easy to do, or Belinda's 4-7-8 belly breathing. Some of those are really good techniques to help focus on breathing. Spending time with animals, back to our cute little babies. have sex, why not? Having a healthy diet and quitting smoking or drinking. So these are all ways that can calm anxiety naturally. And then when to seek professional help. Basically, if you are feeling anxious more days than not, or if it's going on for upwards of 6 months, it could be a sign of anxiety disorder. It doesn't matter how long you've been feeling the symptoms though, but if you feel like your emotions are interfering with your life, then it is a good idea to seek some professional help. And now guys, I'll talk a little bit about anxiety and COVID specific anxiety. The first thing we need to do is be self-compassionate. Everybody is reacting to this strange situation that we've never experienced in our life differently. And for sure, more of us are going to worry more often and have more anxiety now than we might have 6 months ago. Don't be hard on yourself and give yourself credit for doing the best you can to cope in this difficult situation. So having self-compassion is the first one. Limit the news and unplug if necessary. So this is a big one, and the news and the media can really cause a lot of stress and anxiety for people. So maybe limit to checking it only a couple of times a week. Maybe you set a regular time when you check the news so that you're not always fighting with yourself. Oh, I wonder what's happening now. Oh, I wonder what's happening now. The CBC app, the CNN, all the different apps that they have giving you those live updates. Disable news alerts. So if you have it on your phone and it's buzzing every 10 seconds with the latest death toll or whatever it is, disable that so you can be in control and you check it when you want to check it. And if it's all too much and the news is really getting to you, just rely on your family and friends to tell you about the big stuff. They're going to tell you eventually in conversations, you catch up with people through Teams app or whatever it might be. Turn off all of it if it is really bothering you, and you'll find out the big stuff through your family and friends for sure. Try to stop talking about it. So yeah, it's kind of water cooler talk these days, but the more we talk about it, the more we keep thinking about it. So if somebody initiates a conversation, maybe try and change the subject and ask family and friends to not discuss the coronavirus news with you if it is really bothering you. It'll help you feel less anxious and hopefully help others too who might be feeling the same thing. Protecting yourself. You guys have heard all of this stuff already. Good hand hygiene. So doing the best we can with the information that we've got. So washing hands, just do it for 20 seconds with soap and warm water. You don't need to set a timer. It's going to probably stress you out even more and even give a false sense of security and certainty. Oh, I've done it for 20 seconds. That's all you have to do is just kind of count the happy birthday song. And we all do live in an uncertain world at any kind of given time, and we have to be able to tolerate some sort of uncertainty. Protecting ourselves, touching our face, wearing masks, these things are helping to protect you. Stop touching your face as best you can. So if it means you need to wear gloves, do it, because then if you have the glove on, it will remind you to not touch your face. And then I don't know about all of the other cities who might be on this call, but Toronto is very big into the mask. We have to wear a mask indoors in any public place these days. So a mask will definitely help stop the spread and make you feel a little bit more comfortable as well. Social distancing still going on until we have a vaccine, I'm guessing. So 2 meters or 6 feet is the goal to try and stay away from people. I know it's kind of impossible in grocery stores and some places like that we have to go, but all you can do is your best. Try to follow the recommendations of your local health authority and not what your anxiety or your worry is telling you to do. All right, guys, I have a few more things to try. So these are pressure point anxiety relief techniques. So these are from Chinese medicine. So you can do them along with me, and I'm going to read off the benefits or what they're to do. So you can see from there, the hall of impression point is just between your eyebrows. So if you put your thumb on there and you just do a gentle but firm circular motion, applying pressure here is said to help with both stress and anxiety. And then if you can take slow, deep breaths as well and do this for up to 5 to 10 minutes, you might notice some anxiety relief. I've got another one. This was called the heavenly gate point. So it's just up in the upper part of your ear in the cartilage. And again, if you can just do a sort of circular motion with your thumb and your index finger. You can switch directions if you want. This one is said to help relieve stress, anxiety, and insomnia. So this one you can do for 2 to 3 minutes and see if you notice a difference there with that one. This one is called Union Valley. So it's just sort of in the webbing of between your thumb and your index finger. So you can grab that skin in there and just again, massage it sort of gently but firmly. And this one is said to reduce headaches, stress, and neck pain. And you can do it between 4 to 5 seconds, take a break, take a deep breath, and then go back at that one again. And then this last one is called the Inner Frontier. And it's just sort of up your wrist a tiny bit. And if you guys have ever been on a cruise, you might have seen people with those bracelets and it has like a bead or a pearl or something right there. And that's actually applying pressure to this exact same spot. So this one actually helps with nausea and pain, as well as helping to reduce anxiety. So you can apply pressure here for 4 to 5 seconds in a small circular motion, or even just hold it and push and see if that helps with some anxiety, or if you're feeling nauseous at some point too, that could help for that. All right, guys, talking a little bit about nutrition. So stress and anxiety nutrition tips. So these are the things on this page to try to eat more of. So magnesium is a big one. So magnesium is responsible for over 300 different chemical reactions in our body. And there are studies that show that if you have a reduced amount of magnesium, then you are more prone to have mental health, including stress and anxiety issues. And when we are stressed, our magnesium naturally depletes. So if you know you're coming up to a stressful time, try to look at some of these foods, or you could always go the supplement route as well and take more magnesium, like through a vitamin pill, if you know you're coming up or you are going through a stressful period right now. Nuts, seeds, fish, spinach, green beans, brown rice, avocados, and some of those pictures up there, dark chocolate being my favorite one, can definitely help. Vitamin D is another one because it helps produce serotonin, which is a mood boosting hormone, and that can help you feel more calm. So summertime for most of us in the Americas right now, so try and get out and get some sun, and if not, try to either take a supplement or take like milk that's fortified with vitamin D. There's a few different things there. And then the last one is omega-3s. Now, omega-3s help improve our brain function, which is where we process all of our stress and our anxiety. And what it does is it helps reduce inflammation, which can be affected by stress. So these are the ones to try and get more of. Some of the ones that are not super for us: caffeine, alcohol, sugar, and salt. So caffeine affects our nervous system. So it stimulates it. It can change your blood pressure levels. It can change your heart rate, make it go up a little bit higher. It can affect sleep issues and dehydration. So it's not going to put you over the edge if you're like, oh my God, what a day, I need a drink. Let's go for a coffee, whatever it is. I'm just saying that they're not going to do you any favors, but it won't really put you over the edge. Alcohol, what it does is stimulates cortisol production, which stress is already producing. So again, you're just getting more of a bad thing. Sugar, ups and downs with blood sugar levels is what that can do, and it can cause an increase in stress hormones such as epinephrine. And then too much salt can deplete potassium, which is an essential nutrient for functioning of our nervous system. So all of our favorite things, try to have a little bit less of. All of these healthy things, try to have a little bit more of if you are coming up to a stressful time or you are feeling stressed right now. Quick stress reduction summary. Are you mindful? Are you physically active? Again, if we can keep our body healthier and fitter, we won't feel as many symptoms no matter how stressed we might be. Are you looking after your nutrition? Do you look after your social support network, having that person that you can call and talk things through? Do you practice some sort of relaxation technique, whether it's meditation or yoga or Netflix or reading a book, whatever it might be? And this is the one that always seems to go by the wayside. Do you make time to do stuff just for fun? We need those things to look forward to. Depending on what city you're in, a lot of things are still closed, but try to have something to look forward to that's local and safe for you to get through, especially if you know you're coming up to a stressful period. We can definitely help. So health-wise, money-wise, and the EAP are all here to help if you have any issues. Myself for health-wise, for money-wise, we've got Chris in Canada, and we've got Craig down in the States, and they're always available to help with any sort of financial stress that you might be going through. And then the EAP, as I mentioned, guys, I'll throw it in the email, all the contact numbers for that. If you happen to be watching the recording and you want this information, just email me, anna.fisher@healthwiseglobal.ca, and I can send you the same email that everyone on the live program is getting. Balance. If we can balance our negative stress with our positive stress and recovery, then we will have more positive experiences to maintain our healthy mind and body. Help is always available. As I mentioned, the EAP, going through some of the anxiety disorder symptoms versus just regular anxiety. If you've listened to some of the symptoms and you feel that maybe yourself or one of your colleagues, friends, or family might need more help, this is all available through the EAP as well. So at the end of the day, guys, there are lots of natural remedies for stress and anxiety. Some of the ones that we've gone through today with the 1-minute exercises, the breathing, the mindful eating, those sort of ones, grounding exercises, stress, panic attacks, anxiety, all of those things, they manifest in different ways for all of us. So not maybe one method will work across the board. So it's going to be a little bit of trial and error. So what you can do is just make small changes to your routine and see what remedies leave you feeling more chilled out and in control. That is it for me, guys. Do you have any questions on stress or anxiety management that you wanted to throw out right now? Either you can unmute or pop questions in the chat. And if not, I'm always available anytime if you want to get a hold of me, email, message, telephone, whatever it might be.
No questions so far, I think, for me.
Okay, well, if anything comes up and you may not have something right off the top,
Yeah, sure.
reach out anytime.
I will.
Thanks so much for joining, guys, and spending an hour with me. As I said, I'll throw that email over to you guys, and if you have any questions from that, then we can have a back and forth going after that, okay?
Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
See you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.